Welcome to Breaking the Chain. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Cody.
And we got a little bit of a smaller episode today. Like, we have the bands in LL and we have ProQuest Week 4, but outside of that...
And not just any bands in LL, emergency bands in LL for the second time.
Yeah, it's...
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to LL a little bit, but it's a smaller week.
Yeah. So what did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
So, I was gonna say I didn't do anything when we were writing our notes. I'm like, well, I didn't really do much. I went into and played an army, but I did stream. I streamed last Friday, so that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. I was really anxious in the beginning though, because I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? Like, what am I?
I do fun. Once you're done, I have a note about that.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I was like super like tight. I felt super tight, and then like as soon as I started getting a couple comments, I'm like, okay, I'm calming down now. And then I want to say like 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, this is great. Let's like talk about this and do this, and it like really smoothed out. So that was cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're playing Silver Age Valdo, right?
Yeah, and thank you everyone who joined. It was a really good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of live streams, I had a thought the other day, which was we could live stream this podcast with the way that I edit it and everything. I could just have this all on OBS instead of in my editing software, and then it would just like upload automatically to YouTube after the live stream was done, and then we could have like a live stream. Anyway, it was just a thought that I had. I don't think we should actually do it, but I was like, you know what, we could. Like, there's not really anything stopping us from just making this live. We don't actually cut it and splice it. It's all just one recorded segment, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that reminded me of that thought.
It could definitely be like a special episode, like episode 50 or something like that. It's like,
hey,
we're doing a live stream.
It should be 52 because then it'd be exactly 1 year of recording. Because this is episode 39. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool. We'll talk about it, but that's a fun plan. The 1 year anniversary being a live stream podcast.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, anything else you did in Flesh and Blood this week?
Nothing big. Like, again, I went to an armory, which I beat too hard. Or no. I beat Kasai and a Gravy, which was cool and fun, and they were very good games. And then I lost to an Ira, which was like it's like really weird because normally I feel like Ira's my good matchup and Gravy's like my bad matchup. Like, I say bad, it's beatable as a Guardian, but it like totally flip flops. It's like I just got smoked by the Ira. It was crazy.
Did it like were they super aggro with dual threat or?
Yeah, so I threw my spec at them, and they blocked with all their equipment, like Mask of Momentum, Tunic, the arms and the boots. Like, they blocked with all their equipment just to turn off the crush effect. I'm like, maybe that's a win. Like, you know, that could be a good sign. And then they responded with like a double dual threat turn for, I think we calculated it, and it was like 24 to 25 damage.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so definitely a good idea to block.
Yeah. Because like I was ahead by like 12 life. I'm like, I'm doing great. And I did, after my spec, I drew a hand. I'm like, I can block this hand. And like blocked 12, still took 12. And then we were even, and they had momentum, and it did not get better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about Iras. Those aggro decks, those aggro lists can just pump out damage sometimes. And the threatening mask multiple times often with that, and yada yada. But
my opponent played it perfectly. Just like being able to read my disruption and know when to do stuff. It was
I assume it was Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. he's the only Ira player I know in this area. So I just figured. But cool. I unfortunately did not do any armories. I'm still trying to figure out if there's an armory I can do weekly. I'm trying to convince Mythic to change theirs to maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and then I would be able to go. But currently, not there's no close armories that I can go to on a weekly basis. And actually, I meant to go to one of the stores was doing a Silver Age on Wednesday, and I was meaning to make the drive out for that. Cool. But I don't know if they're going to be doing it weekly or not. that'd be kind of fun to do.
I
did
really want to play a Silver Age Armory.
That would be, yeah, exactly. I didn't have a deck ready, and I was like, I think I already had. I can't remember what I was doing, but I already had plans. Anyway, long story short, no in-paper Flesh and Blood testing, but I did do a lot of talent shard testing for the new Living Legend changes. After the new Living Legend changes, which we'll get into later, I'm still considering whether or not I'm playing the calling. I still have yet to decide. I think I'll just buy the ticket once I get there, type of mentality. But I don't know. I've been testing a lot of LL decks, seeing if there's anything that feels good, anything that I want to play in LL. You know, like do I really want to spend $70 and have a miserable time playing LL, or do I want to just play Dash IO all weekend? And I think I know which answer I'm leaning toward, but I feel like I have to give a good enough reason not to play the calling. So anyway, I'm testing LL, trying to figure out a deck that I want to play for it. Long story short, that's my week of Flesh and Blood. So about those changes, those LL changes, we had a emergency ban list. So some background: we were supposed to have, there we go. I had the OBS thing on wrong. It was still good. It was still capturing us though.
Okay.
We were supposed to have the ban list happen, I think, next week. Like
I was gonna say, I think it was next week.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be, or no, maybe it's supposed to be this upcoming Monday. So I want to say it was like a week and a half before. Yeah, so I think it's supposed to be this upcoming Monday. So we effectively got it a week early. And I meant to have the article up on the side. But the main notes are the changes are that Deadwood Dirge is now restricted. You can only have one copy of it in your deck. And Rosetta Thorn is banned. Rosetta Thorn is banned in LL. That was the most out of left field thing. I did not expect that to happen at all.
I always knew that weapon was one of the strongest weapons in the game since the day it was printed.
It is.
Yeah. Winter's Wail had nothing on Rosetta Thorn.
Yeah, but it's so funny because basically they're saying Runeblade was way too good, which, I mean, yes, it was. But the fact that they decided to ban Rosetta Thorn instead of Scaletta means that they were like, okay, fuck all Runeblades. Not just Viserai and Chain. All Runeblades. Briar, get out of here. And there's, I think it's like, and I heard the Runaways describe this the best, which was that they basically just took a hammer to it and were just like, let's just knock the Runeblades all the way down and hope this fixes it. Which,
yeah,
I've heard some positive things. I mean, I've been noticing. The funny thing is that Runeblades are not dead at all. It doesn't actually kill them. I think some of them might actually still be the best decks in the format, but the perceived power of Runeblades is now much lower, which means that people are now looking into options that are not Runeblades for LL. I myself included, and some people on my team were looking at Dromai, which is now looking a lot more favorable now that Runeblades are down. And things like Lexi and New and some other heroes that were just like literally had a 10% win rate into these two Runeblades are now being looked at. And yeah, Runeblades are still going to be here, but they are a little bit lower powered. Rosetta Thorn does a lot into the mid-rangey matchups and not the combo matchups.
Even the slow matchups, because like Rosetta Thorn just told you that you can't play your efficient equipment. Like, your game plan does not matter.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the thing about Rosetta Thorn is it did a handful of things, right? Not only was it a little bit of evasive damage. Like, I don't know if you remember Vexing Malice back in the day and how many times you would win a game with Vexing Malice. By the way,
I remember that.
For those that don't know, because it hasn't been played in CC in forever, Vexing Malice just says deal 2 arcane. It's an attack
attacks for 1.
Yeah. Well, attacks for like 1 to 3 based on the color, but you'd run blue, and which means you'd pitch it to the bottom of the deck most of the time. So then late game, you'd find this card, your opponent would be at 1, they're trying to fatigue you, and then you throw Vexing Malice and win. And so having that evasive damage is a big deal, and so losing that is a big deal. But that's not the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is that creepers was often sometimes your opponent would try to stop it from staying around for another turn. And Rosetta Thorn could push through the 1 arcane to keep it around, right? But with Rosetta Thorn gone, now your opponent is more realistically likely to pitch to AB to break your creepers. And I think that's a big deal. And there's some instances with like you need to deal damage for the turn. Like you could creepers in an attack or a non-attack after the Thorn to then have some of your attacks that care about on hits or arcane damage go through like meet and greet and is it second strike? I think second strike, yeah. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that banning Rosetta Thorn does. I mean, there are a lot of other good weapons in the format. Notably, Duskblade is a pretty good weapon, pretty good alternative, but it's still not the evasive split damage that Rosetta Thorn was.
I think it's crazy that Duskblade still lives, but Rosetta Thorn's gone. Like,
that is honestly,
was Duskblade really the problem?
Well, so
maybe I'm on min-max side this time, you know.
Well, so here's the thing. There's two reasons why Duskblade is okay in LL, right? One, back when Duskblade was printed, Warmongers didn't exist.
Yeah.
And two, the games are so fast, you're not getting counters on this Duskblade.
Yeah.
It's basically just a Reaping Blade plus with how fast these games are, and how often you actually get a counter on it. So it's interesting. It's actually not that crazy of a weapon in LL in my experience so far. But I mean, it's like, why run Reaping Blade when you could run this Duskblade that could swing for 4 and then 5 instead of 3 through 3?
Yeah, it's a little facetious, but.
But yeah, so those are the changes and what they do. Now, the fact that they made this change now is quite a big deal, honestly. First, it's very clear. So there's an article that I highly recommend you all read. But long story short, they go into detail about how tough it's been to balance this format and how little data they've had and how they're not very happy with the way that the format is in terms of a tier 4 event. Is it tier 4 for Worlds? Tier 4, right?
Yeah.
Tier 4 event. And that basically they basically apologize for the state of the format and how what's the word I'm looking for? How like crazy it's been, basically. So yeah, I get it. Like they made the decision to do LL way back when, probably like early this year or something, and they're like, oh yeah, LL's fine, you know, we'll balance it. It's not a big deal.
At the beginning of the year, it was like balanced. I don't know if you remember, at least it felt balanced. Where like you'd see a couple LL callings, and it's like, oh, 8 different heroes in top 8, 8 different heroes in top 8.
It appeared balance is the key. The
and
problem
then people
was
started playing it.
People weren't testing LL because there wasn't a reason to test LL, and so people weren't finding the best deck and refining it and yada yada yada. So then then your Riptides could make top 8, you know. But yeah, and that's like that was the problem, was that there was this perceived, I guess, balanced meta that didn't actually exist because of the lack of emphasis on the format. And so it probably seemed like a great choice back then. Like, oh, we have this draft set that's not going to be ideal for Worlds. Let's do LL instead. But unfortunately, balancing LL is just such a beast. How many cards are banned in LL? Actually, that's a thought that I have.
Well, it's like LL is supposed to be the broken format,
right?
And trying to make the broken format not broken, because like there's lines I feel like they're not gonna cross in LL. Like they can't ban Art of War because Art of War is the really cool broken card. Like they can't ban or like heroes with like really broken hero attacks, like Star of the Show. We can't touch that. Like we can't touch his hero ability because like that's the really cool broken thing. But what we can do is take their entire card base.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I don't know why I can't find.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate their new website.
Yeah, I can't find where like how to get to the banned and restricted, the card legality policy. Oh, it's rules and policy. Wait, but that's not on the anyway.
There we go. It's under play, rules and policy. Yep. And then if you scroll down a little bit,
I see. Under play. Okay.
Really confused for a minute too.
Let's see how many cards this is. Oh, this is Living Legend. Okay. I guess there's less banned cards in Living Legend than there is in Silver Age, to be fair.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bans. Wait, oh, this is Classic Constructed. Hold on. Okay, Classic Constructed, Silver Age, Blitz. There's Living Legend. Okay, it's actually not that many at all. I thought it was a lot more than this, but I guess not.
Well, I think it feels impactful because, like, this is my point for, like, what I wanted to say about the bans. It's like, as someone that doesn't really play Living Legend, would I want to, like, if I were to jump in and play Living Legend, I want to play, like, the broken format.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, looking at the format, it's like, let me name some of the most memorable cards in Flesh and Blood. Carrion Husk, Crown of Seeds, Rosetta Thorn, Awakening, Bonds of Ancestry, Oak and Old, and like there's a couple other in there that aren't like huge.
Yeah.
But like
Crown of Seeds.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I didn't say Crown of Seeds. But like those are some of the most memorable cards. That like, oh, I want to play Flesh and Blood, or like I don't know, like through the history of Flesh and Blood. If you name those cards, like, oh man, I can remember when that card was the meta. Like that card impacted the meta and was such a big part of it. And it's just restricted or banned in LL because like, oh, how else are we supposed to balance the heroes? And it's like hard for me to want to jump into the format as like not a Worlds player.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm going to invest in this broken format where I can't actually play my broken cool cards that I've kept.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, and we've mentioned this before on the podcast, which is that Living Legends should just not be a competitive format. It should be a casual, battle-hardened at best format, and then it'd be great. It'd be perfect. Like, just let us play with our broken cards. Who cares if there's a tier 0 deck or not? It doesn't matter. And you can even, like, do some big shakeups if you wanted to. Like, I think it'd be kind of fun if Living Legend had some sort of, like, rotating banned hero list, where, like, maybe, like, you know, you ban Starvo for, like, a season, like, maybe half a year, just so that other decks can, like, flourish. Or just, like, do these, like, big changes that are just temporary. Like, you make sure everyone knows this is temporary, but just to shake it up. There's gonna be something broken for sure, but like the whole fun is like figuring it out, like figuring out what is broken and what's best. And that'd be a lot of fun. Like I would enjoy that format just as a casual format. And then you get to play with your cool cards and yada yada. But yeah, it's just not built to be a competitive format is the thing. It's so tough to balance. Like, it's possible. You could theoretically make the perfect ban list that there's now 3 to 5 viable heroes that are all very skill intensive when they play against each other, not just who draws their combo first. That is possible, but does
it feel like LL anymore? Does it feel?
It could, because you could be playing with little heroes and stuff. But yeah, to your point, the thing that makes LL interesting is the fact that you have these really strong cards that are just inherently not going to make a balanced format. So yeah, it's tough. Like the thing is that they probably thought that they would be able to make it a somewhat balanced format for Worlds and just to bit off more than they can chew. And
it's like, not that I think LL could be a very fun casual format.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But like, I think that the Rosetta Thorn ban, like, is personally like my nail in the coffin of like this format really can't succeed at this competitive level.
Yeah,
because it's like Rosetta Thorn to me is one of those LL cards. Like they are like, this is relegated for you to play in LL. It's a really cool card.
They
it's not even
a Marvel of it.
They printed a Marvel for it, and it's something where it's like, yeah, it's probably one of the strongest weapons in the game, but like it's not like broken. It adds interesting. I say this, it adds some interaction and some choice between players. Although I didn't like the card, I think it's still a key point, and like to take it from this format just because like how else are you supposed to balance it? Is like, again, like my personal nail in the coffin. Not that I think it can't at some point, but it's hard for me to want to invest when like the format I thought this was gonna be and the format like I really want to play is LL. Like I want to play these old heroes like I used to play them, or like even play against some of these cool cards that I used to play against. And now it's just, oh, you have all these new cards in LL, but all the old cards are banned. Like,
Yeah,
just
and
different.
it's man, that's the problem, right? But
Yeah.
sorry, I was a little distracted there because I realized somehow my noise removal was off, and I don't know how long it's been off for. So I think for the past handful of podcasts, my noise removal has been off, and so it's like been keep picking up a ton of noise. So sorry to the listeners. I didn't realize that was the case. I looked over at OBS and I just saw, like, as I was popping my fingers, I saw the mic like ticking up. I was like, wait a second. They're hearing
right
this.
Here.
I'm used to them not hearing all like jumbling all of the chords and like fidgeting and shit, but
yeah, I do a lot of that. So
yeah,
like,
exactly.
you ever see like my shoulders moving on the screen? I'm usually picking at something.
Yeah.
But
So hopefully that's fixed now. But yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, we probably beat a dead horse on this, but
yeah,
casual format, great. Competitive format, not so great. The fact that they
yeah,
do
and it's like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, and it's like, even if you like put it as a calling once or twice a year, I'd be like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know, like tier 4 when it like really is barely explored is really tough.
Well, then that's why like I was advocating for this ban list. I thought it'd be kind of interesting if they did a huge shakeup ban list on the actual scheduled BNR date and just said, okay, you guys have a week and a half, figure out what the tier 0 deck is in that time, and you'll be rewarded. I don't know if like as a non-worlds competitor, that's like maybe not something that the actual worlds competitors would want.
Yeah.
But it seems like the best way to make it at least somewhat interesting.
Playable.
But I will say, so far, these bands have felt actually pretty impactful. I don't know that it is going to be anything deeper than the Starvo being the best deck, unfortunately. But I do think that there are some other decks that can now rise up a bit because of these changes. So, yeah, kind of don't need to go over it too much more, I guess, now that I think about it. But LL,
Yeah.
it's an interesting spot. They had to make the emergency ban was not quite expected.
I mean, the bans were expected. We just didn't expect them to get them so early.
Oh, something we haven't noted yet. At the end of the article, it says, what I'll read it out specifically because of the way it's phrased. It says the next. Oh no! It says, first of all, these will be our final adjustments in any format before World Championship Philadelphia. And then it says the next BNR is scheduled for December 15th. So they are saying no more changes for World's Championship. They're not going to make any more updates, which makes sense because there's not a lot of time to make these changes. But it is interesting that they didn't want to touch CC at all. And I think it makes sense. We're going to go into the PQ results in a second. I personally think it makes sense for them not to touch CC. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah.
I think it's balanced enough.
Yeah. So speaking of, we got the week 4 ProQuest results. Top 3 are, as you expect, Verdant, Syndra, and Gravy with 18, 13, and 12 wins respectively. But what's interesting is that they don't make up half the pie chart this week, which if I remember correctly, let me look back at last week's pie chart. Now that
most of the time, the top 2 heroes made up almost half the pie chart.
Right.
I think it was like 45% most weeks, where it's like top 2 heroes 45%, and then Gravy at like 10%.
Yeah. So the last week, so I guess, or the week before rather, the week 3 results. The top 3 decks made up, let's see, 51% of the pie chart. With it being Syndra at 22%, Verdance at 17, Gravy at 12. But now this time, it's only 43%, which I guess is not a huge change, but it's still less than half. And now we see a lot of other heroes in this little middling bracket. We have Kano with 7 wins, Victor with 6, Acilio with 5, Prism with 5, KO OGKO with 5, Florian with 4, Jarl with 3, Fang with 3, yada yada. So there's like a lot of these heroes that are actually coming up and being contenders for beating some of these other top decks.
I was surprised to see Kano so high.
Yeah, Kano being up there is kind of impressive. Because you have a pretty bad Verdance matchup, if I understand correctly. I could be wrong about that actually. Now that I think about it, but I think you have a pretty bad Verdance matchup.
Yeah, I can't imagine healing helps you at all.
Yeah, but then again, Verdance isn't really pressuring you much, so maybe it's good for Kano. Yeah. But anywho, yeah. So we see that the top 3 decks are still the top 3, but they're losing a bit of dominance in the meta compared to other decks in the format. And I think I heard some interesting opinions about this on the Runaways podcast, as we like to bring it up on here all the time. But
we just
I think this is great.
Their content, make it ours.
I don't know. I like to listen to their podcast, and I like to respond to things. I like to respond to the things that they say, and there was a lot of dissent on this meta. I think there's.
I was surprised that they were so hard on the like CC meta. I do think it's like the problem that it's running into is it's similar to kind of like I think we were talking about it last week, where it's like the Lexi meta, where the meta's starting to get a little old and stale, and it's just like a lot of the heroes are solved. But I think what's cool is if you're not trying to play the meta decks, there is still so much innovation. There's so much room to fiddle around and try and make room for this. And it's like we know the top 3 decks, but what decks kind of fill up underneath? And that's like I think that's what feels cool and interesting is you got all these decks that are like fighting for 4th place. And yeah, of course, I don't think any of them are going to reach 3rd, 2nd, or 1st, but it's like which one's fighting for 4th place? Which one's going to be a viable deck that you can take and still be confident you can win with? And that's like, I mean, but like, I think the stale part is like, we've had these top 3 heroes for 5 months now.
Yeah. So. I mean, but like, that's the thing is that the complaint wasn't that it was stale. The complaint was actually because there's so many optional decks, and that is a symptom of, I guess, some randomness in the format. I do think that they were a bit biased towards Gravy. I think that's where a lot of this is coming from, is that they're Gravy players. And they're like, sometimes I draw a good hand and sometimes I don't. And my games don't feel playable because of that. And it's like, well, then just don't play Gravy. Like, that's what it's going to do to you.
I do find it very interesting sitting down in front of a Gravy. Like, even as Valdo, like sometimes I'm like, I just won. I steamrolled them. I got everything I needed. Or sometimes it's like, turn 1, like, oh, I do nothing, and then the Gravy player do this, play 2 allies. What are you gonna do? And I'm like, oh, I'm already so far behind, and then I get steamrolled. It's not like it's very rarely a close matchup. It's always a I win or you win by a large margin.
Yeah, and I guess that was the major complaint too, right? Is that it didn't feel like very close games. It was more that who drew their power cards first and who steamrolled the other person. I have a different perspective coming from Dash.io. It doesn't feel quite the same as that. So maybe I have a bit of a skewed perspective on the meta because of that. But I don't know. It doesn't feel that way to me. It feels more like that you can play these decks that have some pretty polarizing game starts and whatnot. But for the most part, like they were calling Verdance. They were saying Verdance was like that, and yeah, you have a little bit of variance when it comes to like drawing your Earth cards and your decomposes. But I don't know. That seems like one of the least
variance heroes.
Yeah, the least variance hero. It's and then like Syndra too. Like your Syndra, yeah, you can draw too many chain enders.
0 for 3, 0 for 3, flick, 0 for 3.
Yeah, you're so consistent.
5.
Otherwise, like
yeah,
I don't know. Like I thought it was a bit of an odd complaint on the format, and
I really think it is like Gravy is the worst of it because like what my point was like is like even as Valda playing into Gravy, I definitely feel the variance of like how well off does the Gravy start, and it's only compounded by like how well off do I start. Because if I start off well and I can throw a disruption before they can set up, all of a sudden, like Gravy, like they need insane hands to kind of pull it back. Or if they start off good, I need insane hands to pull it back.
Well, and this is why back when we were talking about gravy bans, I didn't want them to ban tipples. And I think Cody Williams is also suggesting the same thing because it just increases the variance of the deck. It's just like, did you find your gold generation early enough or not? And it just makes this huge variance thing about if you find your tipples early, you're just as powerful as you were before. And if you don't find your tipples early, well, good luck.
Yeah.
I think
I was
another
honestly
ban.
surprised it wasn't Swell that wasn't
Yeah,
hit.
I mean,
Swell.
I do think that swell wasn't like the biggest thing to hit. I don't know what it would be, but I think just hitting something else, like keeping the consistency but lowering the power level of the deck would have been a little bit better. Like maybe hitting rigor mortis, or something like that would have helped a lot. Um, but yeah, that I think that's it's just a bit of a skewed perspective from the gravy point of view when it comes to this format being very swingy and flippy.
Yeah.
I think everything else is perfectly fine, and it's just like
Everything
normal
else
flesh and
feels
blood.
more, yeah, normal flesh and blood.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is great. The fact that you can bring, one of nine or so decks to the World Championship as your CC deck and not be like ridiculed for it or anything is sick. Like you can bring one of these nine decks and like people will be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like if you know how to play the deck, then that's a great pick, right? Like you have so many viable options, and that means like you can play the deck that you want to play, and you have this skill expression through your deck list based on the meta, and you have this like fairly well defined meta that you can tech for and all that kind of stuff. I think this is great. Like I would be ecstatic to have this meta for if I was competing in Worlds. Obviously, it's a little bit less interesting if you're playing a little bit more casually at armories and stuff. And I expect them to. Well, actually, we don't have a BNR until what, December 15th.
December 15th.
So it would have been nice.
It feels like another late BNR.
Yeah.
I guess it's a month after, so maybe it's to let it settle. But
yeah, but it would have. I will say it would have been nice if they just had a BNR maybe a week or two after Worlds, and then just to shake it up, right? Because it is super stale. It would have been nice if they could shake it up for the casual players and because there's no real events happening. Actually, there's a Seattle, but Seattle is right before that BNR.
Silver Age too.
Silver Age too, yeah. So it would have been nice to have a shakeup in CC after Worlds, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Oh yeah, so that was CC ProQuest. For LL ProQuest, we actually had a sample size this time. We had 10 ProQuests.
Sorry about that.
No, all good. 10 LL ProQuests. 5 of which, half of them, were won by Chain. 20%, so 2 of them, won by Viserai. And then each of these heroes won one of them, a Starvo, a Dromai, and a Pleiades. Now I have a funny story about the Dromai win, which take this with a grain of salt. I just heard this through the grapevine. Apparently the Dromai that won their ProQuest, it was either a 9 or like 17 person ProQuest or something like that. There's some funky thing with the number of people. So this Dromai went 1-3 in Swiss, with their one win being a bye, got to top 8 in 8th place, and then won in top 8. So they won 0 actual games in Swiss, and then won the ProQuest on Dromai. And then this Pleiades apparently was just a CC Pleiades deck. If the rumors are true, that no talk of big games, no nothing special, nothing banned in CC was used in that deck. It was just a CC Pleiades deck.
I mean, I don't know how well played. I don't know. That's very interesting though.
Yeah.
When Pleiades can't do CC, but in LL.
I mean, I can see it, right? Like Chain isn't doing much against you the first few turns, so you just get to like spam auras, and then just smack them when they're like finally starting to actually do damage. But otherwise, it could have just been like an 8-person ProQuest, and
yeah, a lot of CC decks.
Yeah, maybe it's like everyone's decided to bring CC decks to that one. We just don't know, right? Like we don't have that information. Um, but yeah, this feels a bit more accurate to what it was before the bans. Um, yeah, I you see this and you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense why they made a why they made a ban. They probably saw this.
Yeah.
They probably saw this like Monday morning and they're like, fuck.
This is bad.
This is bad. Yeah. So
And I imagine like the Room Blades are the bigger LL events. I could be wrong. I don't know, but
what do you mean the bigger LL events?
with like more people showing up. Because like I imagine the Pleiades is like what you're kind of saying, like, oh, it's a, or like we were kind of saying, like it's a smaller group, and like maybe there's a couple more like CC decks in there. Maybe there are some LL decks, and still like kudos to them for winning. Like even on Pleiades, kudos to them. But like oh, there's a smaller one, and like oh, there's 121. Oh, that was won by chain. Oh, there's a 19 that was won by chain. Oh, there was a 31 that was won by chain. Okay, this is looking bad.
Right. Yeah. Like again, like not trying to say like, oh, Pleiades didn't deserve to win. Like they very well could have, but it's
definitely deserved to win. But
it's surprising is all we're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I could imagine they saw those stats behind the scenes and were like, we might need to make some changes.
Yeah.
So yeah. What was I gonna say? So that was the LL Pro Quest. So something to note. Kano is now at. Oh, I lost the page now. Obviously, there we go. Kano is at 972 living legend points, which, if we're understanding correctly, he's getting about somewhere between 5 and 6 points per PQ win, or maybe like 4 to 6. We're not sure exactly how many points. The estimate is that he needs to win 6 pro quests in order to LL by Worlds. And we have this weekend, and we have next weekend, and LL changes happen the Monday after a weekend. So Kano could be living legend by Worlds, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We could be free.
I think people would be celebrating. Yes.
Yes. I joked with Jacob before we started recording. I was like, it would be really funny if everyone in Sydney like sat across from their Kano opponents and were just scooping. Like, please win this event.
Take this, please.
Yeah. But you know what's funny is I don't know exactly how much that would change. Like yeah, it'd be great, obviously, for a lot of decks that would gain a handful of sideboard slots, right? Like my Dash IO deck would gain 1 to 2 slots. I wouldn't run the helmet anymore. I wouldn't need to run Misfire Dampener for Kano. So I gain 1 to 2 sideboard slots. But like, I don't think that there's a lot of decks that are being held back because of Kano. His play rate is not quite high enough to make it like, okay, I'm not playing Guardian because of Kano. I'm not playing Guardian because of Gravy. So it's not like it's not like Kano's really holding back any decks that I know of.
Well, and like I have a lot of Null Rune in my list, but it's because Verdance exists. Verdance is also still the best deck in meta, who is a Rune Blade that throws 9 arcane at you. Like,
yeah.
If you're running Arcane Barrier, you're running it for Verdance, not for Kano. Kano's just a side effect of Verdance existing.
Right. And so like, yeah, there's some decks that will get sideboard slots because they are only running extra Arcane Barrier for Kano, but some decks were already running extra Arcane Barrier for Verdance as a fatigue game plan, and so those sideboards aren't going to change. I don't think anybody was like, oh, I can't bring this deck because of Kano. Like that's just not that's not a thing that goes to people's minds right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really going to change too much. Obviously, an extra sideboard slot or 2 or 3 is massive for the decks that exist, but it's not going to change the meta. So, but still would be nice to have. That, without being said, would be nice for Kano to be gone.
It would be nice to not run into the one Kano of room of 40 to 50 people and be on Guardian and just get blown out.
Yep. I'm also super excited for the Wizard class change as a whole because Kano is gone, right? Like, I think it'd be really nice to have some more tricky wizards that are not that are full arcane damage, but not just as explosive as Kano. You know,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of design space that's been limited because Kano exists in the wizard class, and I'm excited to see how they approach it once he's gone.
I am excited to see how it goes after Kano is gone. Because, like, I don't know. I think it's going to be really cool to see some of those wizards. And my other hope is we finally get some, like, generic boosts that are, like, Battle Worn 1, Arcane Barrier 2. Like, that would be sick.
You know, it's gonna be just like how the moment Enigma LL'd, we got all the Guardian aura hate. Is that the moment Kano's gone, you're gonna get all of the Arcane Barrier Guardian stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be nice when that happens, but I don't think it'll significantly change the meta. But good luck to all the Kano players that are planning on playing Worlds, is what I'll say.
All like 10 of them. Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, and then we got a reveal of what's going to be sold at the merch booth.
I didn't even know that.
As a reminder, in Worlds, they announced during the 6th anniversary that if you spend $150 at the merch booth, you get the Reinar promos, the golf promos. So they posted some shirts that they're gonna have selling, and some playmats, and the Philadelphia coin, and some binders, and a hat. So some pretty cool stuff here. I like there's one shirt that says "We will rock you," but instead of having rock, it's the image of Rock the weapon. I thought that was kind of a fun shirt. I've seen some people really like the golf shirt. It's not my kind of style, but it is very unique and it's kind of cool. And then some of these playmats are sick. They have the OG alt art head jab playmat, which is sick.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, such a cool playmat. Like I'm not even a big ninja person, but I kind of want that playmat. Same with the backspin thrust, the new puffing card playmat. That was also cool. They also have the alt art rampart playmat and a Shiana playmat. It says the Shiana playmat is foil as well, which is pretty cool.
The Shiana playmat.
Yeah. And then
does that mean she's coming back? Shapeshifter main set?
Maybe. I mean,
that would be so cool.
You can't play. Unfortunately, you can't play her in Silver Age. I think even if she was a rare or common hero, I think you don't have much that you could play with her in Silver Age.
Yeah.
But actually, that's something I want to know with this. That's something we can talk about. I have some thoughts on Silver Age format. But anyway, so the last things of merchandise that at least they announced, they have a golf hat, and they have binders. So these are 9-pocket binders. One has a rune chant on it, the other one has a spectral shield on it, and they're purple and yellow respectively. Pretty cool. Apparently they're not cheap.
I wonder what LSS's favorite classes are.
Right. There's some bias being shown lately.
But just a little bit, you know.
A little bit.
Or like in the other stuff they've released recently, like the light and shadow stuff, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so they announced all that merch that's available. Some cool stuff there. I don't know if there's quite enough stuff that I want to spend $150 on to get those promos, but we'll see. Maybe when I'm there, I'll change my mind and I'll be like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. Or maybe they have more stuff. I don't know. So I had a thought, which I was thinking, you know, when it comes to Silver Age, you can play any card that has been ever printed in common and rarity, right? So what if in the new pen set or in these starter decks that they're releasing, they downshift or downgrade the rarity on some of the cards, notably specializations. I wanted to look and see if there's any majestic specializations. I meant to look before the podcast started. I wanted to look and see if or any specializations that are majestic that could be contenders for the downgrade. Let's see here. Oh, there's a lot of majestics. So
yeah.
I don't know that these heroes need it, right? But for example, maybe Alpha Rampage for Reinar, or Anthem of Spring for Briar, or maybe some of the Betsy specializations, things like that. They could downgrade them to rare in the starter decks or in the new set.
Is it the floating dojo? There's one that I
There you
think
go.
could get downgraded.
Actually, some of the Riptide specializations would be good contenders. For example, it was a thought that I had. I was just like, you know what, that would be actually kind of interesting. Is if they reprinted these at lower rarity to allow them in Silver Age, because specializations are usually a big part of a hero's identity, and so it'd be kind of cool to have. I don't think there's a lot of these that should not exist in Silver Age. They're a little bit too strong, but I do think there's a handful of them that would be quite interesting if they down rarity downgraded.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know.
Just
I'm
the
like
thought I
looking
had.
through and trying to find any that I think are good to be downshifted, because a lot of them feel like they're majestic for a reason.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, definitely not nearly all of them, but like I think there's a lot of the Riptide ones that could be downgraded. I think some of the, I think maybe some of the Betsy ones would be fine to be
Yeah, I could
downgraded.
definitely see the Betsy ones.
Um, there's
Showtime could probably be downgraded.
maybe. Um, maybe the Jarl
Maybe
one that
not.
searches out. Well, no, Mangle's a majestic too.
Well, Jarl is also not in.
Oh, he isn't. I forgot about
Sage.
that. You can't play Jarl. Maybe Up the Ante would be a decent one for Olympia. Um,
I don't know.
there's
A lot
not
of
a
this
ton.
feels very majestic for a reason.
There's not a ton of them, but
And, like,
it was a thought that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that was maybe a potential thought, is that they could downgrade some
Or they
cards.
introduce new specs too.
That too. They could introduce new specs. That would actually be maybe even more fun. Would be if they introduced
Yeah.
new specs for them.
Well, and I think it'd be kind of cool, like, if, like, they're majestic and more powerful, because it's like when the hero, like, if explained, or like in my own little head canon, it's like when the hero finds himself, like, oh, like Silver Age is kind of them growing up into these like adult heroes, and then once they find themselves and they get their like move set, or like they know how to use their powers a little bit better, it's like, oh, now I know how to like use the heartbeat of Candlehold to heal myself in the middle of battle, or
Yeah.
like all these other like majestics. It's like, oh, because I've like been in this scenario before, I know how to use this resource to my advantage.
Right. Yeah, it also could be like they print these new specializations and they're good for the CC heroes. Like maybe they give
Yeah.
give Fi a specialization. That's actually good for CC.
We could
There's
get Bravo that blue 6 specialization at rare.
Unironically, a Bravo specialization would not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Or a blue 9 cost 7. That would be sick.
Interesting.
That would be pretty sick.
That would be pretty sick, yeah. But yeah, that was it. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about before we have. I don't know if we mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast, but I wanted to steal on the baubles idea of doing like a little segment at the end where it's not specifically Flesh and Blood content. It's just anything else we want to talk about. I thought it was kind of fun, just like a way to like get to know us a little better, just like for us to talk about whatever we want to talk about after the Flesh and Blood segment of the podcast. So we're gonna do a little bit of that today. Nothing like too crazy like to talk about, just like whatever we feel like talking about, just like in general, you know. So I don't know if you had anything, but I could start if
Yeah, if you want to start, I have some ideas, but I'll let you start.
Okay. So I was just going to talk about Riftbound a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Riftbound is a new card game that actually came out today, Friday on Halloween. And it's a League of Legends IP card game. I used to play Red Legends of Runeterra back in the day, which was the digital card game with the League of Legends IP. And it was a super good card game. I'm still sad that it's the PvP portion of it is dead. You can still play it. It exists. They have actually a pretty good PvE. It's like a Slay the Spire type game. I forget if it's roguelike or roguelite is the term for it. I always mix up the definitions for
I
them.
really can't remember what's the difference between them.
But they actually have a pretty good PvE format to the game that I go and play every once in a while just to reminisce on the actual card game itself, because the card game itself was so good. Long story short, I was a huge fan of that game, and this new game is actually looking pretty good. Have you looked into it at all?
I have not looked into it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't do card games out of flesh and blood. Like I do
Yeah,
poker and some like non-trading card games, but like I don't do card games like Magic or any of these other things. Like flesh and blood's like for how especially how deep I am into it, it's like pretty much an anomaly to me. Not that
yeah.
I'm ever not against. I've played a lot. Like I've played Pokemon, I've played Magic, I've played Yu-Gi-Oh, I've played Digimon. Like I've played a lot of them, but it's more of whenever someone wants me to come and play with them, I'm like, sure, why not? But
Right. I do really like starting new card games. Like
yeah.
it like perfectly hits my ADHD. Like I just love to like learn a new card game and like get to surface level knowledge of it, and then I get bored.
Mm,
And then I'm like, oh, I don't really care anymore.
yeah,
Um,
I
but
get that.
what I was getting at is like I wanted to like talk about how the game mechanics are very different for Riftbound. So since you don't know anything about it, basically you have. Did you play Marvel Snap at all? Okay.
No. I know we were gonna at some point and then something fell through and then we didn't.
Marvel Snap.
Oh, maybe that was someone else.
Okay, yeah, because Marvel Snap is like the mobile, it's only
Oh,
on your
I'm
phone,
thinking
yeah.
it's something else. I might
Um,
ignore me.
but basically, for Riftbound, you have these two battlefields that you're contending over in the middle, and so it's a very different way to play a card game. You're not like attacking your opponent's life directly or anything. You are strictly trying to capture these points in the middle, almost like a war game in a sense. You're trying to capture these
Okay.
points in the middle and hold them, and you get points. And the first one to I think it's 8 or 9 points wins. But to get that final point, you don't just capture a point, you have to hold a point or capture both points. So you'll get to this end game
Okay.
where it's very contentious over getting that final point. Um, Long story short, the game plays super differently than most of the card games, and there's actually a lot of strategy to it. Apparently, there's like a quote unquote tier zero deck in the first set, which is not surprising. That's kind of usually most card games have kind of one deck that dominates in the first set. But apparently there's a lot of other playable decks still too, and they might make changes. But yeah, it just came out today. I'm pretty excited for it. I don't know how deep I'm gonna get into it because like just like you, I'm all about flesh and blood. um, Also with like these other formats coming out, it continually is refreshing. I can just kind of switch to Silver Age if I get bored of CC and whatnot. But I thought it was really interesting, cool card game, and I'm excited to play it. I there's like a learn to play event or something. Not learn to play. They so what's funny is the product acquisition is terrible right now, as you can expect with a new card game. So it's not a pre-release event. It is uh, it's a release celebration event, I think is what it's called. So you get a starter deck, and sometimes you get a pack or two. It depends on the store. You get a pack or two to modify the starter deck, and you just play with the starter deck, and like it's either the starter deck or a starter deck plus packs, depending on the store. If they have packs for you to modify the deck with, and that's
right.
it. But I'm playing that tomorrow, and I'm excited for it.
Okay. That does sound really interesting. It's like different. How does the resource base work, I guess?
Have you? I guess you probably don't know One Piece either.
I've played it
Yeah.
twice.
Okay. Well, then you know like how the resource system for One Piece works probably then, where you start if you go first you get one resource, if you go second you get two, and then every turn you get two resources.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
But for Riftbound, it's very similar, except if you go first, you get two resources. If you go second, you get three resources, and then you get two resources every turn. But what's interesting is that a lot of the cards, the cards that have more powerful effects, they recycle your resources to the bottom of the resource deck. So you have this resource deck of 12 cards, and you'll start with two. You'll get two every turn, but you can put some on the bottom of your deck to play stronger cards. So then the next turn you'll have less mana than you would normally have at the cost of the stronger card. Yeah. So there's some cool things that they do with that too. But that's the resource base, is that you have this this increasing resources throughout the game that you can also manipulate. And that's why I asked if you played One Piece, because it's kind of similar to One Piece in terms of how
Yeah, it's been a while. Like it's been like a year and a half to 2 years, so it's like real foggy to me. But
yeah. Oh, also with the game, it is a hero-based game where you have a hero starting out in the game, which is like Flesh and Blood, but you also have I forget the terminology for it, but you have a hero that has a static or activated effect that you can activate in the game. You also have I think it's called a legend, which is a card you can play. It's almost like a commander that you can play from that zone that you have the one copy of. You can play whenever you want.
okay.
And that's like a choosable card. It's between like a couple options depending on the hero you have. But yeah. Anyway, not to like explain the entire rules of the game, but I'm just excited for that. Long story short.
Yeah, that's fair. It definitely sounds interesting, and like I try a lot of card games, although I don't play a lot of card games, so I'd definitely be interested to try. But it's like one like you said earlier about like, oh, you like to like try new card games until you like get a basic understanding, and then you're like,
Yep.
it's boring. So one of my like favorite card games outside of Flesh and Blood is actually like Keyforge. I don't know if you've ever played that.
I played a lot of Keyforge back in the day, actually.
So I actually have a few Keyforge decks sitting on my desk, which like
we should play sometime. It's fun to play casually, yeah.
Yeah, because it is something where it's like buy a deck every once in a while and then play it until you deeply understand the deck. And I say like deeply, like you play it like a couple times, you're like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to play the deck, and then you buy a new deck. You're like always learning something, and that's why I like Keyforge. But I don't play it too often. It's like maybe once every other month.
Yeah,
so I play like
played
10 games,
time.
but yeah.
But I did I went to a tournament for it years ago. Probably it was been like 2017 or 2018. And I was not a good card game player back then. I mean, I'm still not a great card game player, but I definitely wasn't back then. I was super casual. But I liked the format with Keyforge, where it was a sealed format, right? Where you'd get 3 decks, and you would have to win with 2 of them. I thought that was a really cool concept for that. Where you,
cool.
Yeah, there were a lot of formats for that game. They kept changing it all the time, but I thought that was an interesting one where you had to win with 2 of the 3 sealed decks you get. Yeah. But if you don't have anything else you want to talk about, I also want to talk about Blood in the Clock Tower.
Okay, I should probably listen to this one because I still need to investigate for tomorrow.
So tomorrow I'm hosting a Blood in the Clock Tower game. It's a small one. I say small. I think it's gonna. Oh shoot! I keep forgetting to text 2 people to let them know I'm having it. There's 2 more people that I'm trying to invite. But anyway,
it's how they figure out,
right? It's about 10 people for tomorrow, and it's a social deduction game like Mafia or Werewolf, where basically in this game you have a day and night cycle. During the day, everyone talks and tries to figure out who's the evil people, and during the night, everyone's powers activate. And what's interesting about this one is that you have a storyteller, and that will be me, where I'm the one that's not only letting people know, hey, it's your turn for your powers to activate. What do you want to do with them? But I'm also providing the information that some roles learn. And I get to dictate what information they learn. So, for example, there's a character that learns one of 2 people is evil, and I get to choose which 2 people to let them know and whether or not they're evil or not. So I'll literally point to 2 people and I'll say they're both good or one of them's evil. And because of because I get to dictate that information a little bit, I get to like puppet master the game to try to like make it as close as possible. Like if I notice that the evil team is winning, I'm gonna help out the good team with the information they learn, and so on and so forth. There's also some like things that like I just get to choose some things that happen. Like there's a role that can show up as evil or good, and it could just flip flop back and forth, and I get to choose that. There's also like you could be drunk or poisoned, and that would mean that your information is bad, but you don't know it. And I get to purposely give you terrible information that you're going to use to like sway the game. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm hosting it should be around 8 to 10 people tomorrow, and then I unfortunately already have a lot of people for my birthday one, but it's in preparation for my birthday, which is on November 21st, where I'm hosting a 15-person game, and I'm trying to prepare for that. Like tomorrow is basically practice for that game because being the storyteller is a bit tough. It's because you have to like to be the best storyteller, you get it down to the final couple people, and everyone's fighting over like, oh, vote for this guy, vote for this guy. Oh, and something to know about this game: when you're dead, you still have a vote at night because you vote everybody out.
Okay.
You vote somebody to like get to get executed, right? Like most of these games, you can vote people out. And so when you're dead, you still get a vote. So you're still playing. That's one of the biggest like draws of the game is that you're still actually active even after you die.
That's good.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited, super excited for it. It's a really good game.
Sounds like DMing in like D&D, where it's like
Kind of, yeah.
trying to run the story, but it's like very different because you're like putting the players against each other instead of like, hey, here's the story, here's something interesting, like battle this creature, don't die, but like I'm gonna try and make it as tough as possible. Good luck.
Exactly. I think one of the coolest things about the game too is that like for the players, you don't have to know anything when you arrive.
Okay.
You literally don't have to look it up at all. Your instructions are quite literally, I will go through it when it happens, and that's all you need to know. You'll get a sheet that has everybody's roles on it, and you can like see your role and what it does, and that's like it's like self-explanatory from that point.
Okay.
Too. So that's one of the huge draws of the game is it's so easy for people to get into. But yeah, slightly longer segment than I thought it would be for the non-flesh and blood portion. But did you have anything you want to talk about before we sign off?
Anything else I could talk about is like way too much. Like I could go deep into D&D. Like I'm running a level like 19 D&D campaign right now, and that's sick. It's this close to ending, and I'm so excited. I have such a cool plans. But anyways,
yeah, we'll talk D&D next week because actually, on Thursday I'm gonna play the first session of a Starfinder campaign.
Okay.
So I'm excited for this. We'll talk D&D next week. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a question for the listeners, what are you excited for this weekend? Maybe not Flesh and Blood or not Flesh and Blood. Let us know in the comments below, either on YouTube or Spotify. If you'd like to give us a like and subscribe, that will help us out a lot. And with that, I'm Cody.
And I'm Jacob.
And thanks for watching and listening.